Oh, hey man, what's up?
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you wanted to...
Nah, don't say it, man. Don't say it.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you wanted to film a video.
Alright, I guess I'll be over in 10 minutes or so.
Cool.
Cool.
Hey everyone, it's Logan Ard, and welcome to the first episode of Aidan and I's new series called Netflix Roulette. So basically the rules of this series is once a week we get on Netflix with our eyes closed and we just scroll and hit a movie somewhere randomly. And we just have to sit down and watch whatever movie that is, and then we'll make a review for it. So it could be a good movie, it could be a terrible movie. It really just depends. And we started this last week with no real intention of making a series out of it, but I just came up with this idea with Aidan. And, I just thought it would work, so that's what we're going to be doing. And also, another rule for the show is if we land on a TV program instead of a movie, we just have to close our eyes and redo it until we get a movie. So, I did this idea. I just had my eyes closed. We couldn't decide what movie to watch. And so I just closed my eyes and I clicked this movie called Super Dark Times.
Super Dark Times.
Super Dark Times. It's a first movie by, I think, Owen Phillips. And I think it's the only movie he's ever directed.
And it's a pretty good movie.
It's a pretty good movie, to say the least. I only have really good things to say about it. I mean, there are a couple flaws, obviously. Some minor things. But overall, I think it's a good movie.
Guys, my parents rented that movie, True Lies. Don't do it. I've watched that scene where she strips over and over and over. The Silver Surfer is the loneliest dude in the galaxy.
I mean, the Punisher is pretty haunted.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Allison Bannister.
Hi.
Would you? I don't know. I like her. Yeah, I like her too.
He's got a thing for me. I like you, Zach.
She's hot, like Charlie's sister.
Shut up.
Oh my God.
Do you remember Daryl Harper? Got a call from his mom. Guess he never came home last night.
Aidan, what did you think of Super Dark Times?
I really liked Super Dark Times. Yeah, I really liked Super Dark Times. I liked the characters, and I liked the plot and what moved it forward. I liked a lot of it. The only thing I really didn't really like was the ending, because it's kind of confusing and left too much out in the open without much explanation. But really all the rest of it is pretty good, pretty suspenseful. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's not like Shark
Snowboard or something, that movie we watched a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that one. That one.
Shark
was pretty
Snow.
Bad. This one was actually pretty good. Like, would you say it's a horror movie? Because definitely the snow shark thing was a horror. They tried to
make a horror movie. Wait, I say Super Dark Times is a horror movie? I don't know. It's kind of hard to label. I'd say it's kind of like a thriller just a drama. Yeah. But especially the ending makes it seem like... Okay, I'll say this. The movie is kind of just not drawn out, but it's very mild. But when it climaxes it climaxes a lot.
It climaxes. Yeah.
So I'd say on that level it's a thriller, but also on the levels where it's just kind of like not much happening, it's a drama. So the story, it follows two best friends who appear to have been best friends for a long time.
Yeah.
Zach and Josh.
Josh. And then they got these other two friends called Daryl and Charlie.
But they're not as close with Daryl and
Right.
Charlie. They more just like are kind of acquaintances that hang out sometimes.
Yeah.
And so the movie starts... Well, let me say this. The movie starts really weird. So it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Maybe it's some sort of metaphor. But it shows their school, and there's just kind of like a dead moose laying in the middle of one of the buildings, just bleeding out to death. And the police come into this school building, and they have to finish off...
Yeah, they mercy kill it.
They mercy kill this moose.
I think the significance of that, well, apart from, I don't really know, but it was to introduce a character because Allison, like the love interest for like everybody in the movie, like was shown there. So
Yeah, I feel like it might be some sort of metaphor for the deaths in this movie. There's only one on-screen death in the whole movie, which is kind of weird, considering it's a movie
two,
sort of.
maybe two.
I mean, it shows 2 dead bodies overall, but you only see 1 death actually happening. So let's get started into explaining. So these 2 friends, Zach and Josh, they are just like chilling out. They go out of like one of their houses and
they're just like sitting on the couch, like rating the
women in
girls
their
in their classes. Yeah,
like every teenage guy does. You know, we
everybody
just kind of
has,
look through the yearbook and rate the girls on a scale of 1 to 10. It was pretty. It's pretty just a common thing if you didn't know for young guys to do. Anyway, so after they were done doing that, they went out and they saw Daryl and Charlie hanging out.
Yeah.
And Charlie apparently has this really hot sister that everyone knows. Charlie's in 8th grade while the rest of them are in high school. And so they don't really know Charlie all too well, but they just know he has a hot sister their age.
He hangs out with Daryl a lot.
Daryl's this really big fat guy. He's kind of stupid. It does follow that cliche, a big fat and stupid guy.
Yeah.
There's not much character development for Charlie or Daryl.
Yeah, but Daryl also, his story is that, you know, he's kind of grown up like poor and stuff, which made him more prone to do more bad and dumb things, which did hurt him in the end. But
yeah, so I'm just gonna say this before we get into spoilers. It's a good movie, so if you want to see it or have any interest in seeing it, it's a very artistic, well shot. The cinematography is beautiful. It was shot on a 35mm camera.
Yeah, definitely watch it before or after this video.
But if you don't care about the spoilers or you want to just watch it after, then, well, here's an alert. After they meet up with Daryl and Charlie, they go into Josh's house. And Josh's brother is a Marine. And so they kind of just go through his room and look at all of his stuff. And Daryl finds some of Josh's older brother, who's not there, weed, like hiding just somewhere. And Daryl's like, Josh, can I smoke this weed?
But then Josh is all like, no, that's my brother's. You can't smoke that. He'll be back and he'll be wondering where he went.
Yeah, his brother will want it. And so Daryl got pretty upset by this and took it anyway, without Josh knowing. And then they go and they start hanging out, like they're just playing in the fields.
Right, well, they did it because also what they found in Josh's brother's room was, like, a katana. And so they were like, man, I bet we could have some fun with this. Like, so they went out and they started, like, slicing open milk cartons.
Yeah, they were just playing outside with the katana. And then Daryl sits down and starts rolling up a joint of Joshua's brother's weed. Joshua got very mad at this and told Daryl to stop. And Daryl started acting kind of loony. He was like, no, I don't want to stop. And kept smoking. He's like, this is my own weed. When it was just Josh's brothers. Anyway, they get into this fight or whatever. And Daryl, he's kind of instigating this fight, really.
Yeah.
And Josh is holding the katana. And they get into a little tough and tumble.
Yeah, Daryl charges at him.
Daryl charges at him while Josh is holding this katana. And then Daryl accidentally charges into the katana and stabs himself.
Yeah.
He's a little unstable, to say the least. Then they don't know what to do, obviously. They didn't mean to kill Daryl. It's more like kind of Daryl's fault anyway, because he was the one who attacked Josh while Josh was holding the sword. And so their first instinct is to cover up the body. So they cover up Daryl's body with leaves in the woods, and they throw the katana into like this storm drain that's in the woods, and they hope to just never think of it again. They tell Charlie, like, hey, let's just never talk about this, and they go and disperse their own separate ways. Somewhere along the way, Zach, like, hurt his hand or something, and he came...
he got mad that, he got mad about what had happened, so on his way home, he just starts punching a wall a lot, and that breaks his hand. And then he goes back to his mom.
Who's played by the same actress who played Holly in The Office. A very nice actress.
Right. And so then, for some reason, Allison,
the love interest of this film. This is like the first time you ever see her really talking or having any main dialogue.
Yeah, she was just hanging out with Zach's mom for some reason and just walked in the house. And then she, like, his mom puts a cast on him and stuff. And then him and Allison go upstairs or something. They don't actually do too much because Zach's kind of a simp. But but basically that's just kind of their moment or something is there to just kind of like keep you reeled in.
Building some sort of relationship. So it establishes that Zach and Allison both like each other, seem to have some sort of history with knowing each other, maybe fiddling around a little bit in the past.
Yeah.
Perhaps because they were pretty close in that scene. They were holding hands, and they didn't really kiss. They sort of just like rubbed their noses on each other.
Well, see, like Allison is the one who's like straightforward. He's more assertive with what she wants from Zach and stuff. Like,
and Zach's a very nervous, Zach's nerdy kid.
Nervous and like he's kind of like nah.
I don't touch women. He's an incel. I guess actually Josh
is
more
an
than
incel, but we'll get into that later. Eventually, Zach goes to find Josh, but Josh is just kind of like playing Fortnite in his room by himself and doesn't really want to talk much. But then I think what happens after that is Zach gets invited to Allison's party at like this girl Megan's house.
It's Allison's birthday party at her friend's house.
At her friend's house. So they Zach goes to the party and he finds Josh there, but Josh is like handing out weed to everyone.
The same weed that was his brother's that he didn't want Daryl to have.
He just starts giving
it to.
Because he's also kind of got a thing for Allison too, which is like I said, she's
They established at the beginning of the film when they're rating the girls in the yearbooks. They both are talking about how much they like Allison. Yeah. But yeah, so he gives this weed away that was so precious to him for his brother earlier in the film that he killed Daryl over, but now he's just giving it away.
Yeah.
And then there's this emo kid who Josh had already established earlier in the film that he didn't like. He hated because he made fun of his brother for being a Marine, but then the emo kid was like, "Oh, you have weed? Can you hook me up?" And then Josh was like, "Yeah, man, I'll hook you up." The next day, they find out that emo kid had fallen off this bridge, who was just talking to Josh.
And so Zach gets all suspicious and stuff, and he's like, "Man, I don't know what's happening." So he calls Charlie, and he's like, "Dude, I think Josh is out killing people here," because he was like, well, he'd never liked that guy, but all of a sudden he's dealing weed to him, and then the guy's dead all of a sudden. So that raises some suspicion.
And then Charlie's just like, "Shut up! I don't know you." Blah blah blah, and like leaves. That's the last you ever see of Charlie.
Yeah.
And so
another thing that he discussed with Charlie while he was there, because Zach had actually gone back to the scene of the crime where they had accidentally killed Daryl, and he found that the sword that they threw into the sewer drain
was gone.
It was actually
someone
gone.
Had come and taken the sword that they had tried to dispose of, and Daryl's body was like
it was all cut up and stuff. Like they slashed it. Like that's just kind of
like the person who came there started attacking Daryl's body even more after
whether or not he was alive. Maybe he was alive,
and then someone finished him off. But either way, his body was harmed even more. Josh going over to Megan's house with Allison. I guess Allison wanted to buy some marijuana off of Josh.
Yeah, and she was kind of hoping that Zach would be there too, but he didn't go because Zach and Josh aren't really on good terms anymore. So it's just Josh coming over, and he's got this surprise tucked in a towel. And I mean, it's obvious that you can tell it's the katana. And
yeah, he just brings this thing over and like wrapped in like a beach towel, and like Allison and Megan are like, "What's that?" And he's like, "It's a surprise."
It's a surprise.
And there's this really cool scene where it flashes to just them in the house, like Josh, Megan, and Allison in the kitchen, and then it's like this 2-minute scene of just Josh drinking this glass of milk for like 2 minutes. It's just Josh going.
Yeah, he comes in and he's just chugging milk.
And it's extended for so long that I actually enjoy. If it was just a short scene, I'd be like, that's kind of dumb and pointless. But the fact that it's so long, it kind of made me like it more.
And uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does a good job of making you actually uncomfortable. And at the same time, Zach is realizing that, like, oh, so Josh messed with the body and took the sword. He must be killing all of these people. And then so he tries to go to Allison's house, and he finds out that Allison isn't home, and that she's at Megan's house with Josh.
And then he's all like, oh crap, because he knows that Josh has the sword and stuff, so he's getting over there, as fast as he can. And meanwhile, Josh is in there. They go into, the three of them go into Megan's room, and they just start smoking, and then Josh reveals what the surprise is, and he's like, it's a sword. I got a sword, guys, and they're all like...
And they start playing around with the sword. Like, Megan's playing around with the sword. Allison looks kind of uncomfortable. And at the same time...
You just see Zach...
Zach is just bolting, like, this
flashing
huge
back to, like...
Zach running down
Zach
running down the street to Megan's house to save Allison and Megan.
Yeah.
And it cuts to just Zach running. And he tries to break in there, like, really fast and, like, get up to Megan's room. And you see that, like, Megan is, like, down on the floor, like, dead already. Yeah, Josh is, like, somewhere hiding.
Yeah, he killed Megan on the bed. He, like, tied up Allison or something, just, like, cut her a few times.
He had tried to kill Allison, but I guess he heard Zach coming up, so he, like, went to hide. So Zach unties Allison, and Allison seems kind of unconscious. And then
well, she definitely got cut or stabbed somewhere pretty bad because she was like having trouble breathing and stuff. And Zach is about to help her, but then he hears Josh doing something downstairs. He's like, well, I guess I gotta go stop Josh.
And so then they get into this really cool, intense fight scene. Like, it's really intense. It was very, very well done.
And it's not like... one thing I liked about it was it showed that Zach's nothing special. Like, he's just
a kid, man.
He's just a kid. Like, he's not in there, like, completely destroying Josh. Like, he doesn't even lay a hit on him.
It's like an active, like, fight with someone with a real katana versus just a kid, like a 16-year-old with, like, nothing. Like, Zach is just getting hit with this katana, slashes all over his body, and is barely surviving.
It'd be like, where like Josh has the katana like raised up above his head. Normally, something like that would happen. Somebody would come in.
Someone would come and stop Josh.
Or maybe Zach would like pick something up and throw him, but no. Like,
but instead, Josh just actually genuinely cuts Zach, and like really bad.
Pretty bad cut too.
And then Zach manages to run outside limping very badly, and a neighbor sees or something and holds Josh back, and then Zach gets up for one final punch, and like he just punches. He gets like, this is the only hit he got in, just one punch on Josh, and then it cuts to like the police being there and everything.
And paramedics, and they get Allison out of there.
And like Zach is answering questions for the police, and then it shows Josh sitting in the police car in the dark, and you see his face, and then he kind of just fades into the shadows of the police car. So Aidan, on a number scale, what do you rate this movie?
9.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 9 too.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this movie to someone who said, hey, I need a movie to watch? Would you tell them this?
Yeah, I'd recommend the movie. It's a pretty good movie.
I second that stance.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to randomly roulette pick the next movie that we're going to be reviewing on Netflix Roulette. So again, the rules are we have to get on Netflix, close our eyes, and then pick a movie. Click. I was right up. Bustler's Mall Heart. So the movie we're watching next is called Buster's Mall Heart.
Buster's Mall Heart.
That's what the roulette picked for us this time.
Huh. Well, okay.
Well, I'll see you guys after we've watched Buster Smallheart and.
Buster Smallheart. We'll see how it is. Goodbye, guys.
All right, guys. Peace.